Hey, welcome everyone. Vic here with SociSnap, Mr. Hatman. We're going to be having our very first Fair Exchange speed networking event today, and it's going to be different than any other speed networking event you've been to. And I want to talk about how are we different than other networking events. First of all, we have a very, very simple rule. And the rule is this: no free gifts. No free gifts. Okay. If you're giving away free stuff, we're going to remove you from the group. It's the exact opposite of what these other groups are doing. And I'll tell you why. Because when you give something for free, you create a debt, and that person has to pay you back with interest. I'm going to be showcasing some videos of my interview with Dr. John DeMartini, who talks about fair exchange. We're going to be talking about AI. We're going to be talking about Microsoft Copilot and why it's better than ChatGPT. And we're going to be talking about our own product, SociSnap, and how you can use it, as well as EarthGrid AI, to be able to work with your tools and make it even better. So joining us are our VIP group, a small handful of people I brought together to sort of impart this vision to you. Tam just joined us. Welcome, Tam. Welcome, Patricia. Welcome, Tom. And if you'd like one of these backgrounds, reach out to us in our Skype group. And as soon as you become a customer of SociSnap, we can give you these Zoom backgrounds. And this is a special Zoom background. All of these images were created by SociSnap. And we kind of thought, wouldn't it be cool to have like a music, everyone has these backgrounds on, and you start them at different times. So then we have a whole wall of mushrooms, a wall of mushroom people. So let me begin by setting the rules. I'm going to read the rules. Rule number 1, open networking. When you come to our groups, you can connect with fellow SociSnap members, members of the EarthGrid community, and freely sell and promote your services. However, we recommend that instead of selling each other services, you exchange them, because we're all consultants, we're all professionals, we all have something to give, we all have different gifts we want to give and receive. And inside of our community, you're encouraged to balance the fair exchange. Now, what is fair exchange? Well, if let's say I'm giving you 15 minutes of my time and it's something that you truly need, and you give me 15 minutes of your time and it's something I truly need, as long as I believe that I need that and I got value from it, that's a fair exchange, because we're all humans, we're all equal. Okay. Now, some people like to say, oh, I charge hourly, or like an attorney, they charge, in 15-minute increments, and they charge $400 to $800 or $1,200 an hour. And you could say, well, my time is worth more than your time. Well, that's only in certain professional circles. In this group, what we want to do is basically talk about the people who are not in this group. You want to sell to them. Inside the group, we want to exchange with each other. Does that make sense? So there's open networking. You can promote yourself if you want to. You can pitch yourself as you want to. The only thing you can't do is give away freebies. Okay. You can
What?
only give value. So we prohibit the exchange of free items. There's no free gifts going to be given to you, and no opt-in forms. Okay. Let
Okay,
me tell you a
cool.
true story, even about free trials. One of my dearest friends, I think we go back more than 3 decades. His name is Chris. He lives still to this day in Maui. We became friends in Maui, and he and I worked on a fax directory project on the island of Maui. And what we would do is we would send out faxes. We literally went into the yellow pages at that time. We put in every business owner's fax number into my Apple II computer, and I wrote this software that would bulk fax people right from the Apple II. And we would send out thousands and thousands of faxes. And then we didn't have any ads on it. It was just a fax directory of other people, and you could add yourself to the fax directory, and then basically you could fax people instead of calling them. It was a really simple idea. This is before email became a thing. And it grew in popularity. Well, a few years later, when I think it was right around 1995 when Windows 95 came out, I started working as a talk show host at MSN, the Microsoft Network, in 94. And he came up with a tool that made a few changes into the Windows operating system that sped it up, especially with dial-up modems, which is what everyone had. It increased the buffer size. It sped up the internet in a perceivable way. And he did a test. And his test was pay $20 and get my app. And at one point, I think it was on Firefly. It was one of these advertising networks. He bought a million banners a day on the internet. Speed up your Windows. I don't know how many of you saw that speed up your Windows banners, but if you were around that time. But he had a million banners a day, and he was a maverick because he didn't have the money to pay for the ads. He had 30 days to make enough money to pay for the ads because the bill was going to come. And they gave him like a credit for like 2 weeks. And so it was between 2 weeks and 30 days. So he had to figure, okay, he needed to generate enough money from these ads to be able to sell his product and also be able to break even on it, because it was really, this is when banner ads just first started out. And what he discovered was when he gave a free trial to people, they didn't end up buying the $20 product. Whereas when he just charged $20 and he gave a money back guarantee, if you didn't like it, you could give your $20 back. He actually was profitable. So the trial actually lost money, whereas just charging people $20 made money. And so I would say, as every single one of you want to learn from this lesson, create something of $20 in value and put it together and make sure it's worth $20. You don't want to be giving away something that's worth $1,000 for $20, because what's going to happen is you now created a $980 in debt. So like when Deepak Chopra came on my show, here's what happened. He gave about $20 in value to everyone in the show. And then at the end, he said, go to your local bookstore and buy my book. And he became a best-selling author because these events were timed to the times when he was trying to promote his book to get it on the New York Times bestseller list. And in a small way, I feel like I was largely responsible for all of the success, because his agent would call me up on the phone and say, Deepak's new book is coming out. Could we put it on the calendar? And I got it on the calendar, and I got it really well promoted. And we had, during that next 24 hours, we had like 50,000 people show up to our show. We had 2,000 people show up live. And so in a way, we had way more engagement, a lot more people showing up in an era where the internet was on dial-up modems. You couldn't even have video. You couldn't even have audio. All you could do was type. But people were so engaged. And of course, I had Deepak on the phone with me, and I had a fast typist that was transcribing his words. And then people were living for the replay. And what we found was we could charge $5 for the replay. But here's what we found. We found that when we charged $5 for a membership, we found that if we said, okay, become a member for a one-time payment of $5, we'll give you all the replays of all our events. And very quickly, we grew to like, I don't know, maybe 10,000, 20,000 members just with a one-time payment of $5. So these are lessons about fair exchange, because a text transcript for an online event, we created the price for it at that time, $5. A book or an ebook or something that really gives you some value, or a piece of software that really gives you some value, is $20. And it's really funny that now, I guess it's almost 30 years later from that time. I guess it is exactly. It was 1994, and now it's 2024. So I guess that's 30 years later. What we're seeing is that price point of $20 is the mainstream price. That's the price for ChatGPT. That's the price for Copilot Pro. And that's the price for SociSnap Magic. We just set the price to be the same. However, we give you a discount if you are a nonprofit or a small business. We give you up to 30%. All you have to do is go into the profile and add your business email address, and our software will automatically compute the discount for you. And we also give a 10% discount for anyone who's on Google Workspace, because we want to encourage people to have their own business.com email address at their website and have a website. So what I want to do to start off with is I wanted you to pick one of your websites and put it in the chat. Now, just put that in the chat and we're going to talk about it. And what I want to do is help you structure the offer with your website so that you're going to be operating with Fair Exchange. And before we get to that, what I want to do is play for you one of the videos that we have inside of our members area. That's with John Cleese at first. We're going to talk about the principle of the Dunning-Kruger effect. And then from there, we're going to move into Fair Exchange with Dr. John DeMartini. And so I'm now working on a course which is called Retrain Your Brain. I think we're going to change it to Refine Your Brain, because let me just talk a little bit about AI and what I feel is the big danger that we're going to experience as a society. We're going to become more increasingly dependent on mobile phones, tablets, computers to give us the answers to questions. I'm already seeing it right now. If I want an answer to a question right now, I know how to write a prompt to an AI and it will give me the exact thing that I want with up-to-minute information. So like the other day, I was wanting to check to see how are the polls, not POLES, in that humorous post that Mr. Trump put out on Twitter. And, I think it's kind of funny whether he's actually writing these posts himself or whether his staff is doing it. What I do know is that they are massively, very, very intelligent people in his organization that are monitoring trends and what people are there. So I think that was an attempt at humor, but the media took it literally, saying that he doesn't know how to sell. They talk about pole dancing and all this kind of stuff. Because he misspelled POLE instead of POOPOLL. And regardless of the thing, it became a thing and it caused a lot of media spin. So as soon as that came out, I went into Copilot and I said, what are the poll numbers? And I spelled it correctly, between the Republican and Democratic and independent candidates. And it found the exact answer and said, so-and-so is ahead in this state by 3 points, and so-and-so is behind in this state by 4 points. And I checked the references, and the references were today, the up to the minute moment. So when you have an AI that actually has up to the second knowledge of what's on the internet, that's really powerful, okay? And that's a massive shift. And I would say, and I'll say it on record, that I think that Google is way behind. Microsoft is in the pole position. They're kind of like the Olympics. I don't know if you're watching the Olympics, but USA, because Russia is not there, is winning almost everything. Swimming, gymnastics, diving, even the race, it's crazy. I haven't seen much of the Olympics, but I've just been getting news feeds about it. And the USA is just crushing it this time. So my point is this. As we depend on AI for our news and information, it becomes increasingly important that it's fact-checked and it's important. And the challenge with this is the mainstream media is deciding what's news, what's real, what's not real, based on authority and based on content. And there's a massive amount of stuff that's going in there. And these AIs are processing the internet at lightning speed. I think very soon we're going to have quantum computers if they don't already have them. And these quantum computers are going to be, instead of using the cloud, which is how AI is being done right now, is you want to picture this, you might think, oh, how are they able to create a computer that's smart enough to process the entire internet every day? Because that's what it is. Okay, they're taking a snapshot of the internet every single day and they're processing it through this AI. Well, they're doing it through clouds, and these clouds are set up in these data centers. And I don't know if you're following the news, but they're setting up these data centers fast, 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 fast all the time.
Mm.
And what ends up happening is more and more people are having all of their personal information, all their personal data is all being processed by these massive AIs, and it's making sense of it and it's learning about these things. So we, the people, need to now start using AI if we want to have a prayer in having our message reach above the noise. Okay. And that's why I started, I guess 3 years ago now, programming SociSnap AI, because I've been using Copilot ever since day one. I mean, at least for the last 3 years. And I found that Copilot was going to replace ChatGPT. I predicted it 3 years ago. It's happened already. It's a better thing. But just like Betamax and VHS, an inferior product tends to be the market leader. So
Mhm.
right now, I would say that Copilot is better than ChatGPT by far. It's free. Anyone can get it. And there is a crusade right now where they're trying to get the, they call it your everyday AI companion. And you can download an app with Copilot through the Apple Store as well as on the Android marketplace, the Google
Mhm.
Marketplace. However, what very few people are talking about is the presence of, like, well, how do you have it on your desktop? On your Mac desktop or on your Windows desktop? It's part of Skype. And so these groups are going to be talking about open networking through Skype. So we're going to have a Skype group. And if you've come to any of our networking events, we're not going to give you the link in an email. We're only going to give you the link in Skype groups. So make sure you keep your Skype open and just mark your calendar. We're going to do these every Thursday at 12 o'clock. And we're going to just ask you to bring more people to there to just get educated. And as soon as we have enough people to go into a breakout session, we're going to do that. And so the whole idea behind this is we want to stand firmly against other networking groups that have these free gift giveaways. You feel all this pressure. You can't be yourself. You can't speak openly about the services you're offering. And you can't really get any help because you feel like you're completely being supervised. Okay. There's that threat that, oh, if I'm too assertive, then I'm going to offend people. No, no, no. We want people to feel open and free to exchange their views because we're all equal. Okay. So that's my monologue about the very first networking event. And I would love to hear from some of you here. What do you think about it? And how do you think we could make this grow?